5 Drexel Municipal Candidates Forum. On behalf of Grow With Drexel, my name is Dan Hoyle. And we do welcome all of you to the Fred and Betsy Cranford Family Community Room. I hope everybody has had a chance to take a look around. It's a beautiful setting. Thank you, candidates, for coming to this occasion tonight and agreeing to participate. As you see, the renovation of this room is not yet complete. The bathrooms, the adjoining bathrooms are not usable yet. As far as housekeeping is concerned, there is a set of bathrooms on the far side of the building that you are welcome to use if needed. Drexel has 6 candidates running for office this year. Early voting begins this Thursday and will end on Election Day, November 4th. 2 of our candidates, Dennis Anthony and Jennifer Yunt, are running unopposed. Dennis is running for mayor, and Jennifer is running for one of the council seats. At the end of our forum tonight, Dennis and Jennifer will both talk for about 4 minutes, or 5, or 5, says Dennis, about what he and she see as their vision. Jennifer is completing a term that began with Terry Yunt, and Dennis is running for a full 4-year term this time. The 4 other candidates, and they'll be introducing themselves in just a few minutes, are running for the seats currently held by Tim Franklin and Scott Coe. Scott Coe is the incumbent. Mr. Bill Petit, Drexel resident and editor emeritus of the paper, will serve as moderator. He will give the format for the forum in just a few minutes. Before turning it over to Mr. Petit, a couple of reminders. Please listen carefully to what each candidate has to say. They want you to be involved in what happens in Drexel and its future. This is a forum, not a debate. Candidates will not be allowed to speak except in their own term. We respectfully ask that audience members remain totally quiet at all times. Mr. Petit will not allow any comments or questions from the audience. At the end, each candidate will be able to give a 2-minute summary of of their vision for Drexel. This forum is being live streamed. We didn't say a whole lot about it ahead of time because we didn't want to cut down on the group here, but it will be on the town's YouTube channel for future reference. And with all that being said, I'll turn it over to Mr. Bill Petit, and he will be serving as moderator for this.
I just remembered something and put my phone on silent, and if y'all would do that, we'd hate for you to get a call right in the middle of things. And as Victoria can testify, I'm a former school teacher, so if I see that cell phone come out, there'll be a lot of yelling and screaming, right? Can you hear me in the back? Okay. Thank you, as Dan said, thank you for being here. We live in an age where there's a lot of criticism and complaint, but there's not a lot of folks stepping up to actually do something. And up here tonight, we have 6 men and women who are willing to not only take the time and effort to run for office, but if they are successful, to serve in office. And Mr. Mayor, I'd emphasize the word serve because that's what y'all do.
Right.
So before we do anything else, I think these 6 people who are willing to put the time and the energy into running and to serving deserve a round of applause. All right. Our candidates are seated in alphabetical order. We have Mayor Dennis Anthony, incumbent Scott Coe, David Harmon, Brad Rich, Victoria Taylor, and Ms. Yunt on the end. We will be asking the questions in alphabetical order and alternating as we do that. We're going to start by giving each candidate, except for the 2 who are unopposed, 3 minutes to introduce yourself and tell why you are running for the office of alderman. And Mr. Coe, we'll start with you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being out here tonight. It's good to see this crowd. I am Scott Coe. A little bit about myself very quickly. I was born in Dayton, Ohio. I moved all around the country, but I found home in 2001 when I came to Drexel. This is home. I've been all over the world, and this is home. I love it here. My wife and I have 3 children, 6 grandchildren. So, like I said, it's home. We own our own home. In 2022, I was appointed to the board as an alderman. I was serving on the planning and zoning board. I was appointed mayor pro tem recently. Why do I want to run for alderman in Drexel? Like I said, this is home. I want to be part of it. I've been involved in the town since I got here in 2001. My father-in-law and I came to the town meetings for years, and we were the only 2 there. It's good to see a crowd like this. It's good to see a crowd on Tuesday nights when there's more than 4 or 5 people there. That's fantastic. But I've been in the textile business for 48 years. I've been, like I said, around the world following that business. And I think I can help this town move forward. I know that's not 3 minutes, but I'll give you the rest of the time back, sir.
I neglected to mention, excuse me, something very important. Mr. Hoyle is our official timekeeper, and when you get within 30 seconds of your time limit, he's gonna give you the high sign.
You better do it real like this for me.
I told him I was gonna wait.
Mr. Hart?
Thank you guys for coming out. I am a Drexel boy. I grew up here from the time I was about 2 years old, so I went off to college. I went to school here. I enjoyed every bit of this community building. I lived in this place from skating to football, basketball, everything you could think of. I was in this building or somewhere around Drexel. And back in those days, we got to ride bicycles, we got to ride skateboards. All we had to be home was for dinner or when the light went out. Things have changed, not just in Drexel, but worldwide. Technology has come around and changed us and society. But I think there's some things that we can refresh, regain from our past, and utilize. One of the things I think that we are missing here is community. Back in the day, I'll speak for my age, I'm 60. Community was everything. Churches worked together. Communities, neighbors worked together. People who worked in the same factory worked together. If you had a tree fall down, that guy was right there beside of you, helping you cut that tree down. And I feel like we've lost that over the years for various reasons. But there's ways to get that back. And community involvement is one of those. And the only way to start community involvement is jump in with both feet. I am an architect by training and career. I went off to Charlotte to school and stayed there for about 30 years, practicing architecture on my own for the majority of that time. Back about 2017, I decided to come back home and take care of some elderly. My parents' health was going downhill. So I piddled, as I say, and took care of my mother until she passed away. And that was right before COVID. And so the question was, what was I going to do? I have no real ties to Concord or Charlotte anymore. My kids are grown and in various places. And I just wanted to come back and be involved in the community as much as I possibly can.
Brad?
Hey everybody, thank y'all for coming out tonight. It's great to see so many people that care about their community. I am not from here. From across the river in Caldwell County. I grew up there, lived there majority up until my 20s. when we were coming back to this area, we were looking for a place to live. I did some research, and we found a house over on Mimosa Avenue, and we've been there since 2016. It's been a lot. It's been a lot of good years there, and we've like watched the community kind of change and not change over the time, and that's kind of why I'm doing this, is because I want to make that start happening or keep it going, maybe boost the momentum a little bit to make it go back to and build the socioeconomic and the economy the way it was before. And encourage families to move here and want to stay here. My little girl, this is her home. Like, even though we might not have grown up here in this town, she has, and this is where she's built relationships, friendships, stuff like that. That's why it's important to me to be here and do this.
Victoria?
Hello everyone, and thank you for being here tonight, and thanks to Grow With Drexel for hosting this forum. I'm honored to be running for a seat on the board of a town that I grew up in and that I do love deeply. I'm running to bring a fresh perspective to Drexel's leadership. I want to help our town grow economically, culturally, and as a community where every generation feels valued. That means representing young people, supporting our seniors, and making sure everyone has a voice in shaping Drexel's future. I know why young people leave towns like ours. They feel bigger cities offer more opportunities, even though life there can be a struggle. I was one of them. I left Drexel and then came back to support my family. But I want to help create reasons for others to stay or come back to feel that Drexel is a place where they can build their future, raise their families, and thrive. Young people are our built-in growth, our energy, our ideas, and our future. My experience has prepared me to serve Drexel in a hands-on, practical way. I work every day as an assistant discharge planner and business office manager at a skilled nursing facility, helping seniors navigate challenges and advocating for their needs. I've also led teams and managed operations in high-pressure environments. Those experiences have taught me how to listen, problem solve, and get things done, skills I'll bring directly to our local government. I won't pretend to have the most political experience, but what I do bring is dedication, professionalism, and a willingness to learn. I'm not tied to old networks or the way things have always been done. I'm committed to making local government approachable, accountable, and effective, and making sure that your voice is heard. Local elections affect our lives every day, more so than any national race. Your vote matters. So thank you for coming tonight, for listening, and for encouraging your neighbors to participate. I ask for your vote and for your support so together we can move Drexel forward. Stronger, more vibrant, and a town we're proud to call home. Thank you.
Thank you all for those introductions. We're now going to ask you a series of 4 questions. And candidates, you will have 3 minutes to respond to each of these questions. We will go in alphabetical order. Excuse me. When we complete those 4 questions, you will each have 2 minutes after that to summarize. But again, in responding to these 4 questions, please try to limit yourself to 3 minutes. And Mr. Coe will begin question 1 with you. Grow with Drexel has had as part of its mission statement to, quote, implement new ideas for a bright and prosperous future. We feel we have accomplished a lot in the past 2 years. What new ideas do you have as a potential or sitting alderman for an aging downtown that is full of older buildings, privately owned, but that are in need of significant repair to make them and the entire downtown attractive to potential businesses? Again, what would you do about the older buildings that are desperately in need of repair? Mr. Coe?
Back in, when I was on the planning and zoning board, that was discussed. What do we do about downtown? Well, downtown looks a little better than what it used to, thankfully. We've got a nice restaurant, we've got the 3D store, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And you can't force somebody to clean something up or fix something up But if we fix everything up around it, they'll take the hint and start cleaning up, I believe. What can we do to help them? We've talked in the past, is there grants? Is there something we can look at for downtown revitalization for our little town? We've got the 100-acre property over here that we're trying to develop. And I think that'll be key, because to get to that 100 acres, you have to come through downtown. So, you know, a coat of paint helps, but I think it goes beyond that. We'll have to get the community involved. We'll have to get the owners involved. I know the town is willing to get involved. What can we do to make it better? Involvement. Put our hearts into it, put our backs into it, and we'll see where we can go with it. Somebody says you're wasting your time trying to fix it up. I don't think so. I think there's a lot of hope. I love to work on old houses. You can't get the architectural work that you do nowadays. Same with the old buildings downtown. There's some cool old buildings. We just need to offer our assistance, and let's push it and see where we can go with it. Thank you.
Well, as one of the owners of downtown, I have purchased one of the buildings, which I considered the ugliest building in town, which is the old gas station that had more cars and crap around it than anything. I decided to jump in with both feet. So I think there's a couple ways to do that. One is you got to get people involved, like Scott said, but I think the way to do that is create some ownership. So maybe it's a merchants association. Now, there's not a lot of merchants down there yet, but they're building owners. Instead of going to them and saying, hey, this is an ugly color, paint it, let's convince them that if they paint it, there's some value. My building still is the ugliest. I've got things going on to improve it, but as I start to improve it, maybe they'll see something improved next door. So we've got to convince these guys that they have a dog in the fight, like I do. It's not just a place where you store stuff anymore. It's a valuable place. It's a place where people can go, whether it's a concert, or whether it's a place to eat, or whether it's a place to buy something. I think that living downtown is a critical part. How can we get people living on Main Street so that they are part of everything that goes on, not just driving through it to go to the post office? The last part, I think, as an architect and a planner, is I think we need to look at it, what's there. When I was younger, there was a post office, there was a doctor's office, there was a dentist, a pharmacist, a bank. All these things were reasons for people to come downtown. There's none of those there. Even as an architect, as a professional thing, I don't really bring anybody downtown. But that's what we got to strive on trying to find. Is there some beauty salon, perhaps, that brings people down once a month and they use my parking lot, whatever the case may be. But we've got to get these guys convinced that there's value in it. It's not just because they have a piece of dirt, not just because they have a building, that it is worth a gold mine. It's only worth what they put into it. So I think some associations, maybe even a smart town coordinator, which would be something that the town would have to coordinate with, that could help sponsor things as a part-time person. Go out and get grants for the community as a whole, or the downtown as a whole. So that's the third thing that I think would be valuable from a town standpoint.
Brad?
So, like I said, we've been here for almost 10 years now. We live right on the back side of Main Street in downtown, right behind David's garage. And we've been walking our pets for years through those buildings and watched people come in and move out and watch them be sold, and new owners and updates and things like that made. And there are grants out there. It's just being able to find them, sourcing them, having the time to do that for historical and beautification of small towns. You just have to look for them. The property owners would have to match whatever they're willing to give or whatever we can get, stuff like that. And I've seen that done, like when we moved from a historic city. So I know that money's out there. We just have to find the way to write it and get them to give it to us. And then there are local partners like Grow With Drexel. They're planning community events, bringing people down there. getting people together, getting them talking, getting the buzz going and getting people excited. That's important for community relations. That's one of my top, like my three most important values of my campaign and what I would represent if I was elected. And then we could do like a monthly promotion of the businesses that are down there to get people to come, have events. Like I've been talking with Dan the other day about a farmer's market during the spring and summer months to get people down there. I know it's been brought up before. I'm not the first one to do that, but I do have a garden and it would be a good thing to take there. Yeah, so that would work out well. But I know, like I brought this up in another conversation at the early times of this. I know the importance of this community to the people that were born and raised here. My family worked in furniture, so I know what it feels like to see your parents coming home every day exhausted and going back the next day to do the same thing. And I know that's what they feel when they drive through that downtown part, is the heart they have for this community. So that's why it's important to me to revitalize it. And with the clearing of that 100-acre lot, it is the perfect time for a Drexel Renaissance.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
And that's I thought he was telling me to stop. But yeah, that's important to me because there's a generation here that's going to be here. To keep them here and to give them a reason to want to be here is important.
Victoria?
You know, I don't think my ideas really differ too much from David or Brad here. The idea of a community garden has been floated around. I think we all want to see that downtown area revitalized. I grew up when that downtown area was a little more lively. My family also worked in furniture. I grew up going to the barber shop with my grandpa. So I, just like all of you, want to see that area revitalized. I don't have a vast knowledge on what the town could legally do to address the privately owned buildings. This is an area that I would definitely seek guidance and education on from people like our town manager who have more experience in these kind of things. I think the right thing to do would, kind of like David said, encourage the owners to do something with it. But I think it would be a great idea for us to come up with some ideas as a board and as a community to then bring to the property owners and kind of show them why their buildings have value and why it would be a good investment for them to, bring it back to life. Things that doesn't always work though. If that was to fail, and the encouragement, ideas, and assistance from the town is rejected by the property owners, it would be maybe time to consult with code enforcement to see what we can do about maybe at least cleaning up the area, deboarding the windows, making it look a little less like a storage unit. But there's got to be something that we can do to bring it back to life. And when we talk about improving Drexel's infrastructure as a whole, the reality is we can't fix everything overnight, but we can be smart, strategic, and aggressive about going after the funding that's already out there. Towns our size, we don't have to take that full cost on alone. There are state and federal programs like the North Carolina Department for Environmental Quality Resilient Water Infrastructure Grants. There's the Golden Leaf Foundation, which we've already gotten $500,000 for to go towards the Drexel Heritage Site, and the Appalachian Regional Commission funds that are designed to help small towns like ours upgrade our water, sewer, storm systems without overburdening the people and the taxpayers. Drexel's already received some funds for these purposes, and I think we need to keep that momentum going. I also believe in forming stronger partnerships with our neighboring towns like Valdez and Morganton to share the cost of resources, especially for big regional projects like the Tri-Town Water Connection Project that's currently attempting to be underway. Beyond that, I want to see us set up a long-term infrastructure plan that identifies the priorities. That way we're not just reacting if something breaks. My goal is pretty simple: secure outside funding, spend wisely, and make sure every dollar goes towards improvements that make life safer and better for the people that live here.
Question 2 will begin with Mr. Harmon. The town has spent significant money and obtained millions of dollars in grant funds to get the old Drexel Heritage property ready for a new industry or industries. As I ask this question, I know that 3 of you have not served on the board, as Mr. Coe has. But what are our options? What can we do if 2 or 3 years from now, that property is still sitting empty and no industry has chosen to relocate there? Do we have options in that regard?
I think we have lots of options. I will say that I'd like to commend where we're at. We've made some great steps in the last year and a half, 2 years to really physically see some things happening, even though behind the scenes things were going on and going on slowly, it was happening. But what I think we're gonna have is we're about halfway there. Even when they're done grading and they're walked away from that, we're still only halfway done. The big burden is finding somebody to get there. As an architect, I've even talked to developers, and part of our burden is our route from here to the interstate. The old Drexel Road is windy, not very good for transportation, so we've got a hurdle to get over. So one of the things that might help that is how do we make that piece attractive? Well, as the town, we own the property across the street. And when a town owns something, they can control it. They can decide what goes there, they can decide how much money is spent there, they can decide what it's used for. So there's some opportunities. 3 years down the road, maybe the town builds something onto Main Street. There's nothing wrong with extending Main Street a little bit further, making it bigger, making it more significant. So maybe that's an opportunity somewhere with some grant money to build some spec buildings. Maybe it's a live-work scenario where the person lives upstairs and works downstairs. Again, maybe it's I say beauty salon because that's just easy and we have a lot of those everywhere. But you know, that young lady or young man could live upstairs and own the salon downstairs, rent out 4 chairs, and there we've got a space. There's other opportunities besides building a beauty salon. But I think that's one opportunity that we could be progressive about, instead of waiting on reaction. Say, hey, look, we've got significance of investment in downtown, which makes these people more interested in the piece of property across the street. Now, we may have to do some things that fall in the DOT line and how we can encourage DOT to help us out and get that transportation route better. So that's another opportunity that we may have to go through. So my idea is to be very progressive about it. We got to chase people. We got to get on to Electric City and the other partners that we have that help bring those people to the table and see how we can talk somebody into being part of Drexel.
Thank you. Brett?
So I thought about this question. I didn't think exactly the way you worded it, but I was kind of like preparing, because that is a potential situation that could be here. Like they did all this work. Like I remember a couple of years ago, they started clearing the land and it looked really good. The green grass was growing out there, and that was a couple of years ago, and here we are. But it's a lot more work now. That was different. That was not the same as they've done now. But market, like marketing is going to be really important for that. We have lots of businesses in our area and industries that could come in. We just have to market it to them and make it worth them coming in. But we also have to make sure it's like good for the community too, that they're not just going to come in and take advantage and use up all of our resources and then leave us with a mess to clean up. So that's important too. But I really think marketing, finding what's a trending, like industry right now, whether it be technology or medical, like that's kind of where I've been thinking would be a good fit for that area. Something that won't require us to build a road immediately, even though that would be an issue. But if we're not moving 18-wheelers, then I think that would be something we could look at. But I think that's important. We have a lot of breweries. They have to have supplies in the area. That could be an option. Just other things that we have. I know there's a company, Baxter, up in Marion. They do I think it's IV bags or something like that. Like medical is always going to be here. Furniture was the hidden industry back when we were built, and now that we're moving into a medical kind of industry or technology, stuff like that. I think that would be important to market it to.
Victoria?
Yeah, as Brad said, I think the marketing is a really big part of it. When it comes to bringing in business, I think we already have a lot of great things that we can offer. We have affordable property, we have quick access to I-40, and we have a hardworking community that takes pride in where they live, and that in itself is marketable assets. As far as I know, everything that's going on at the Drexel Heritage Site is going well. Bill brought up in the last town hall meeting, we recently ran into some complications, but nothing that's unheard of or not manageable. Once that site is finished, I anticipate there's going to be significant interest from industrial manufacturing businesses. The project could result in as many as 200 full-time jobs, and I've seen numbers as up to 500 million in private investment at the site. The site is flat. It's a relatively flat site. It's a rail-served site. It's pretty enticing for businesses to come there. But ideally, the buyer of the site is going to offer good jobs and long-term stability for Drexel. But I don't want that to just be an idea. I want us to find a way to guarantee that and make it a reality. There's policy tools, legal clauses, incentive structures that we as a board can build into contracts and development agreements to make sure the buyer hires locally, invests in our infrastructure, and benefits the community in lieu of just profiting off of cheap land. For example, Asheville and Hickory have used a local labor participation clauses for city-funded projects. We could take similar language and adapt that for Drexel's industrial and commercial recruitment. There's no mandate in North Carolina that allows municipalities to force local hire percentages for private industrial buyers, but municipalities can negotiate that in development agreements. We can negotiate with the buyer on a local labor training program that requires partnerships with local schools and community college programs that help recruit and hire and train our local young talent. Additionally, instead of giving upfront tax breaks, the town of Drexel could offer incentives only after the company delivers on its promises. The North Carolina GS 158 7.1 allows local governments to offer incentives for economic development tied to job creation and investment. These are just a few examples of many things that we can do to ensure the buyer is a benefit to Drexel. Growth should work for all of us, not just whoever buys the property. If a company wants to be a part of our town, they should be a part of our town. And my goal is to make sure that any business that comes into Drexel becomes a true community partner. And create jobs for our residents that help us build a stronger economy.
Mr. Coe, wrap this one up.
Thank you. You don't realize how big 100 acres is until you come down Oakland Avenue and look over there where all, drive up Butler Hill and look at that. I mean, it's amazing. We have been told that that is a very valuable, desired piece of property. There's enough room for 2 rail spurs, eliminates the road issue. But we have to have industry there. The grants were given for industry. We have to have industry there. A lot of interest. Alan Wood with BDI has brought numerous people by. It's very popular. The more grading we get done, the more site work is done, the more popular it gets, the more interest it gets. We've been in negotiations with Duke Power to make sure we get enough power over there. The world is right there, folks, and I don't think it's an option. We have to get industry over there. That's what's going to revive this town. That's what's going to boost the economy. We talk about we want people to come back to Drexel. Man, I want people to come to Drexel. I want them to experience home like I do. Jobs is what's going to bring people to Drexel. If we can get something going over there, or when we get something going over there, that's going to be the key. We have to have people there. Training for any new industry. The college has a fantastic program. There's grant money for training. The company I work for, we have grant money for training to teach people to run looms, to teach people to be electricians. So there's a lot of training money out there, for any industry that comes in. So we just need the right industry, and I believe it's just a night shift or two away. Thank you.
Question 3 will begin with Brad. What are some of your goals and specific ideas for attracting young families to the Drexel community? How do you think Drexel can best be marketed as a town where young people can find a permanent home and workplace?
So, one of the things that I never realized growing up as a kid here locally was how much there is to do that's free. Like, I know that's probably, you don't think about that, but like, you can drive 30 minutes from here and be at a waterfall. You can drive an hour from here and be in Asheville or Charlotte. And then you come home and you don't have to hear horns blowing. You might hear a siren a couple times a day going to autumn care, but that's probably, that at least you know it's helpful. They're doing something. It's nothing violent or dangerous. So that's that. We have an awesome recreation center for young families to bring their kids and get them involved in. It's affordable. I know that's like number one on my list of things. So getting people here, like marketing the real estate, marketing the nature that's around here. We have the river trail coming in. We have our recreation center, not new, but like remodeling. So it's going to be like new. And we have sidewalks. We have a new, like eventually new industry coming in. There are a lot of industries in the area that are easy to get to and drive to. It's quiet here. That's what I was talking about earlier. You could go out to the city, spend the day, and come back and it's quiet. The people are awesome and friendly. I'll tell y'all, I've talked to like my closest neighbors, but until I got out and doing this campaigning and canvassing and talking to people at their homes, like you realize everybody here are the sweetest people in the world. Like I don't think I ran into one bad person. They might not have been in the best mood, but because I was at their house, but once I talked to them a minute, they calmed down. And that's the thing about it, is you got to get out here and get to know people. You can read in the newspaper, you can look at their social media posts and stuff like that, but that doesn't tell you who they really are. And that's the thing. Another goal, I think, would be to market that the people are nice here. There's no crime hardly ever. If it is, it's nothing that anybody's going to get really hurt with. So, I mean, that would be my goals, is to market the economy, the affordability, the quietness, the hometown, small town feel.
Victoria?
You know, I think the first step would be changing the story that people hear about Drexel. You know, for a long time, we've been known as the town that used to. We used to have factories. We used to be busy downtown, but I want to see Drexel a town that's becoming something again. And like I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of great things to offer already that are good marketable assets. But I'd love to partner with people like Burke Development and the Chamber to really highlight that. You know, we could make a website that's got local incentives and the town's vision for growth, something that really tells potential investors that, you know, Drexel is open for business. For young people, it's about creating energy and connection, and we can market Drexel by showing what makes it special, you know, that small town charm, that sense of community, events, affordable living, and the chance to actually be a part of something that's growing. I'd love us to see us use social media more intentionally, sharing success stories, small business spotlights, photos of events, progress updates to show we're moving forward. You know, Grow With Drexel is already doing a fantastic job of this with their online presence. And you know, sometimes the best marketing isn't ads or posts, though, it's word of mouth. If people start seeing Drexel making improvements and we're holding events and we're supporting local businesses, that's what's going to get people talking about Drexel again. That's what makes folks want to visit, open a business, and move here. If we keep building that sense of pride and keep building that momentum, we'll remind people why Drexel's a great place to call home and show them it's only gonna get better from here.
Scott, we're back to you.
We are an undiscovered diamond in the rough, in my opinion. This is the quietest little town. There's not a lot of towns in America today where you can walk outside and not be afraid. We have a very low crime rate. We have a fully staffed police department. We have the recreation center. There's softball, baseball, pickleball, any kind of ball that's going on somewhere down here at one time or another. That's great. You get to know everybody. And you know, when you get out and walk around, I like to walk. When you get out and walk around and you talk to people, it's a friendly town. It's just a close-knit town, and well, yeah, if you go over here and talk to Jim Bob, he can tell you, everybody knows everybody, but in a good way. You know, it's not, I've grown up in some weird towns in my life. I mean, this is an undiscovered diamond in the rough. And we need to promote it as such. I think when we get industry in over here, they will be amazed. And you know, we talked about when we do get industry that wants to come here, we wanted to go to their place and visit them to make sure they would be good neighbors for our little town. We want to protect it. Man, this is just a gorgeous place to live and to work and to raise your family. My daughter, our daughter, she came with the wife. She's wanting to move to Drexel. And somebody asked, why would she want to move to Drexel? Because she can let the kids outside. She can let the grandchildren outside. You don't have to worry about them, folks. That's what it's all about. Peace and quiet and safety. You're an hour from Charlotte, you're an hour from Asheville, you're 15 minutes from Morganton, you're 30 minutes from Hickory. What more could you ask for? You want to go to the mountains, you're an hour from the mountains. You want to go to the water, there's rivers everywhere. Lake James, the most beautiful lake around here. You can be up there real quick. We've got it all to offer, in my opinion. We just got to get it out there and show it to people. Thank you.
David?
Would you read the question again, please?
Yes, sir. Basically, what are some of your goals and ideas for attracting young families to Drexel? And how can we best market the town as a place where young people can find both work and home?
Well, as I said earlier, I'm 60, but sometimes when I look in the mirror, I think I'm 25 or 30, and I'm relating to people that are not, or my kids' ages, probably fooling myself, but I've found talking to people like Drew Hull that the younger generation is very interested in walkable towns. Places they can get out, places they can mingle amongst each other on a regular basis, not just once every concert or just once every festival. They like that idea of being able to, hey, honey, I'm tired. Let's walk down to the pizza place. Let's grab a beer and a pizza. We'll run into Jane and Joe, whatever the case may be. So what I think is critical for us to attract young people is think about the way the young people live. And they like walkable places with trails, bikes. They like the opportunity to walk out their door, go grab something for lunch, come back to their office in their home. They like the idea of maybe even having a work center. There's a place called WeWork that gives you the opportunity to go down, print some things up, do whatever. There's some opportunities there. You run into the same people every day. We need opportunities for people to interact more than just the post office. You see everybody nowadays that morning run at 9 o'clock. I see everybody's going to see what they got in the mail. We need more of those places. What makes you come down after 5 o'clock? And that's, I think, from a standpoint of a town, we need to start chasing things, whether it's restaurants or whether it's a place to work that we can all work together in the same place. We need to start looking for those opportunities and then play on some of the others that these guys have talked about. There are great opportunities of being a safe place, being a friendly place, being a place that people get along. I think that the younger people like that, and they want to take advantage of it. So how can we, as a town, explore other opportunities that build on what we already have?
Each of y'all have talked quite a bit tonight about the strengths of Drexel and why we love living here. But the truth is that Drexel, like every small town, has challenges to face. Our infrastructure is getting old, our water and sewer system. Many of our sidewalks were put down during the Great Depression. We have potholes. We have a community center that is being perked up, but it is 72 years old and is going to require constant maintenance and spending over the next couple of decades. Our final question for you is, how would you prioritize the problems that Drexel has to face? And obviously we can't tackle everything at once. What would your priorities be in facing some of these problems? And Victoria, we'll start with you.
Well, just to address, the R.O. Huffman Center being an old building, like the Drexel Heritage Site, this is an area where we need to take care of the past as well as the future. And I would like to see the playgrounds and the ball fields I grew up on, in addition to the renovations already happening, being renewed. The center means a lot to the town, and we can search for and apply for funding dedicated to buildings that are historical or older, like the R.O. Huffman Center. But honestly, I would have to meet with the staff and learn more about their perspectives, ideas, goals. They interact with the people who use this center every day a lot more than I do, and get input from the community about what they would like to see from the center, to see how the board could best support them. As far as our biggest challenge, I think one of our biggest challenges is rebuilding momentum, getting people to believe that growth is possible here. For years we've watched businesses leave, we've watched industries leave, we've watched opportunities shift elsewhere, and that can make people feel like progress is kind of out of reach. Another big challenge is our aging infrastructure, as he mentioned, our roads, water lines, buildings. They all need investments before new businesses will want to come in. And of course we have to do all that while being responsible with our budget and our resources. But I also think one of the most important pieces is unity, getting everyone from residents to business owners to the town board on the same page about the direction we want Drexel to go. Growth doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen with just one person. It's going to take all of us. It takes a community that's willing to come together and make a plan and keep moving forward even when times are hard. And Drexel has the heart and the history to grow again. We just have to build the foundation and believe it's worth the work. The typical approach to boosting economic development in small towns is recruiting the branch plants of major organizations and by offering tax and financial incentives. And industrial recruitment has shown substantial employment opportunities and a tax base for small communities. And Drexel has the opportunity to bring an industrial project to the heritage site in the near future. I recently read a report published by Good Jobs First, which is a Washington, D.C. based nonprofit that's dedicated to tracking the use of state and local economic development subsidies. And they found that the most effective economic development incentives required companies to create permanent full-time jobs that pay a livable wage and provide strong benefits for local workers. I believe it's imperative to put an emphasis on internal sources of development. Securing private investments from elsewhere is more likely if there's a strong foundation of local assets. Success is driven from within.
Scott?
Would you repeat the question, sir?
Yes, sir. Basically, a lot of good things about Drexel, but we are facing challenges like keeping up this community center, infrastructure, et cetera. How would you prioritize how to address these issues?
First and foremost, I think some things get better with age. And this building is a magnet for the community. You've got to take care of it. We had engineers look at it. You couldn't rebuild this building. So let's take care of it. Yeah, it's going to cost a little money. Let's take care of it. Let's build it up for the future. The aging infrastructure. We have had studies done on the water lines, the sewer lines, what needs to be replaced first. There's a plan set out to take care of that. Because you're not gonna bring anybody here if there's not water and power and sewer. So we have to move forward. But first and foremost, we have to develop the Drexel property. I mean, can't stress that enough. I know everybody's probably tired of hearing it, but we cannot stress that enough. For the growth of this town, you have to develop the Drexel property. Technology, we have to move forward with technology. We do have the high-speed internet in town now. I think that will help draw businesses. I think that will help draw some younger people, because a lot of people work at home. So they've got the high-speed internet that is very dependable. We just have to market it as what it can be. What can we be? What do we want it to be? And just put it in front of the people. Hey, this is it, man. We got it. We got the workforce. We got the grant money for water and sewer and electric. Let's move forward with it. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. David?
In my opinion, what we need to think about, prioritize is our train of thought. We have spent the last 20 years being in a very neutral zone where we got our trash, we got our police, we got our firemen, we got our water and sewer, don't touch anything else. I think we have to be more progressive. Progressive is where I think the priority needs to be. When you have a town that, and I will commend them, they've started to change this, but I'll use this only as an example. When you have a town that sends 4 guys out with a spiral-bound notebook to collect the water and meter readings, bring it back to somebody else to transpose, in our technology age, just makes no sense. So I want us to think more positive, more younger, in the way we look at things, and the way we attack things. How can we build on what we just improved, because they bought meter readers, so that spiral bound technique is going away. But there's other opportunities like that. What do we do that is so ancient that has put us behind? How can we take advantage of technology, younger thinking people, more productive type people, and build on the areas that we feel need to be built on? Whether it's infrastructure, whether it's a 100-acre piece of property, whether it's this building. What can we do in a progressive type view that will help us as a whole, as opposed to, I just want to fix the community center, or I just want to do this. I think we need to have a broader look at everything and how we attack our community.
Brad, finish us up on this one.
Like Scott said, the priority would definitely be getting something on the 100-acre lot. I'm not just trying to steal his glory with that, but that's what's going to drive people to come here. What's going to drive this economy again? What's going to have people, like I mentioned this in one of the town meetings, this town was built on foot traffic. They would come out of the factory, walk to the bank, walk to the store, walk to the doctor, then they would go to their homes that they could also walk to. So it was once a walkable foot traffic town. So I think that's going to be the priority, is getting that traffic coming back into the town. It's going to drive taxes, revenue for the R.O. Huffman Center, for new fire trucks, for all those things that we need. And also it's going to drive an economy in our businesses. And I just think that's going to be, and we all know that already, that's going to be what's going to reignite the livelihood of Drexel again. Not that it's like not already lively, but livelier, and get more people in here. And younger folks, that too. And I mean, I know we keep saying that, but I also want to, we have a really high number of an aging population. And I would, if I was one of them, I would want to see my town lit up again, to see it moving and to see that happen. And that would, because that's what they know it as from before. That's important to me. and everybody, I think.
Thank you, sir.
Again, we have 4 candidates for alderman for 2 open seats. So you will be choosing 2 of these 4 folk. And we're going to give each of the candidates now 2 minutes to win you over and summarize why they should be elected to the Board of Aldermen. And Victoria, we'll start with you and go in this order.
Thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to speak to every one of you tonight, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your weeks to come out. I know I'm not the obvious candidate, and I don't have a long political resume, and I haven't spent years in office, but what I do have is firsthand experience and a deep love for this community and a willingness to roll up my sleeves and work for Drexel every single day. You know, I've spent my career serving people, whether it's helping seniors navigate our tireless healthcare system, or you know, running high-end restaurants in Chicago. I've done a lot of things, but everything I've done has served other people. So I'm ready to keep that momentum going into the local government. And every experience has taught me that real progress comes from listening, understanding people's needs, and making tough decisions with integrity. And I know Drexel faces its challenges, and our infrastructure needs attention. We want to bring new businesses, we want to bring new jobs, and we need to revitalize the downtown area, and we need to ensure seniors can live safely and comfortably here. But I also see incredible potential. Drexel has heart, Drexel has pride, and Drexel has people that care about each other. And with the right leadership, we can turn all of those challenges into opportunities. Opportunities for growth, for small businesses, for safe streets, and for a downtown that every single one of us can be proud of. If you give me your vote, I promise to bring energy, dedication, and a fresh perspective to the board. I will fight for practical solutions, seek out grant and funding opportunities we qualify for, and hold myself accountable to you, the residents of Drexel. I'll listen first, act boldly, and never forget that my job is to serve you. Drexel deserves leaders who are not just talking about change, but making it happen. I may not be the obvious candidate, but I am the candidate who will work tirelessly for our town, our families, and our future. And I hope I can earn your trust and your vote together so we can make Drexel a stronger, more vibrant town for everyone who calls it home. Thank you.
Brett?
I'm just gonna go ahead and say I don't have like a typed up speech to give you guys. I'm also not a politician. I don't speak to people like in big groups ever. If I do, it's like not on purpose. So I just want y'all to know, like, if I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, it's because like I'm terrified right now to be in front of y'all. But and we've been here, like I said, for almost 10 years. I never, like, when we were moving back to this area, like, I never picked Drexel as like, that's where we're going. We were driving around, I was researching, I found the house, and it was perfect. Like, I went ahead and said yes before she even looked at it, just to let y'all know. Just because I was like, this is the one. It's been a while, like getting to know people, walking around, seeing people move in, seeing people move out. And we've grown to love it. There was times where we would be like, oh man, we gotta go. There's like, it's just not, you know, we were kind of on the edge of like, what are we gonna do? And then in the last few years, I've like, this is it, this is where we're staying. This is my daughter's home, this is all of her friends' homes, this is where they live. We probably have a house full of kids every weekend at our house. And that's important to me, and that's important to those families as well, is that their kids are happy here, that they're gonna be safe here, that they're gonna have a life here, that they're not gonna have to move away. And that's why it's also important to me to create something to keep them here, to keep it growing, to make the people that grew up here see it thrive again and watch it move and grow.
Thanks, sir. David?
As I mentioned earlier, I'm an architect by career, by profession. And what architects do is we solve problems. It's a little bit more than just drawing nice, pretty pictures, renderings and that kind of thing. We solve problems. And this room is one of those scenarios. This room was the worst room in all of this building. You could not talk, you could not breathe without somebody hearing you. The project was not to make a pretty picture, but to improve the efficiency of this room. That's what I do for you. That's what I bring to the table, is my experience with solving problems, listening to people, and understanding what their objectives are. I want to be that spark plug that keeps things going positively, progressively, and maybe even a little aggressive on how we make these things happen from this point on. I want to be that person, somebody goes, I had a great idea. Hey, I think I'll go talk to David. And listen to you that way and see how that problem or solution could be helpful. I want to be the person that pushes this council or the future council into being as progressive and as attentive to what's going on in the community and what the community wants. I am invested as I can get. I don't own one side of Main Street, but I own a little piece of Main Street. And I want to see that grow, not only from an investment standpoint, but from a legacy standpoint. What did I do for downtown Drexel as a legacy? What did David Harmon do after he's long gone and buried over here at the graveyard site? That's what I want to do.
Scott?
Like I said earlier, in 2022, I was approached about joining the board as an alderman. I've enjoyed it. I think I've grown. I've learned more about the town, the workings of the town. Some of the things that we've accomplished since 2022, we paid $600,000 for a new fire truck, paid cash for it. May have to get us another one, Chief. We gave all of our town employees pay raises. Our employees were terribly underpaid. If we're going to keep our town clean and operational, we have to have a good staff to do that. Somebody mentioned the water meters. We put in electric meters that they can read and turn on and off from the town hall. They don't have to send somebody out. That's progression. You look at this building, and I still go back to it, it's a landmark. You give anybody directions and you tell them where the community center is in Drexel and they know where to go. We need to continue the progress here. We've put money into the recreation department, and I think that will just pay for itself. We started grading the Drexel property. You know, there was a lot of discussion, a lot of talk about all this, but the one thing that I want you to remember, if you don't remember anything else I've said tonight, we done all of that, we completed all of that without raising taxes. Not many towns, not many boards, not many councils can say they've accomplished those things without raising taxes. Thank you.
As we said earlier, we do have two candidates who are running unopposed in the election. Mayor Dennis Anthony and Alderwoman Jennifer Young. Is Alderwoman the correct word?
Alderman is also gender neutral, so either.
I have a quick question and don't take more than a minute to answer. To me, Board of Aldermen sounds a little outdated. Is that in the town charter that it's Board of Aldermen?
Don't everybody look at me at once. Yes, it is. It's in the town charter. So when the board was initially set up, they chose alderman as a name. Similar to other, it can be changed, but most towns just leave it as it is because it's kind of.
I was just wondering, town council sounds a little more.
Yeah, you see commissioner, you see councils, you see alder. Yeah.
Maybe we get wigs, you know, like.
All right, at this point, we're gonna give Mayor Anthony first and then Ms. Young 4 minutes to talk about their vision for the future and where Drexel can go. Mr. Mayor?
Okay, just start off with, let you know, I have been in Drexel, I'm 68 years old, I have spent about 50 years in Drexel. 11 of those 68 was in California and near Los Angeles, which it's different than what it is now, but anyway. So I was elected, I got to mention this because if I don't, I'll get in trouble. I have a wife that was married, we've been married 34 years, we have 2 boys, 44 and 43 years old, and 3 grandchildren. I was elected in 2017 as an alderman. My goal or my hope for that time site was to have something at the Drexel site and to open this building back up. At the time, this building wasn't open, it was shut. But I wanted to open this building back up and bring life back to it and have things like we did when I was a kid. When I was growing up, my dad was director down here. So, but getting back to the Drexel site, I'm going to take the words of one of our fellow or former alderman, which is here tonight, Rick Klein, and the Drexel site and getting something there is the heart of this town. This town will go as that site goes. We get the industry in here. All of our grants are industry bound. That we are working with BDI. We do have very many people interested in the site, but they won't do anything until we get it to where it's available to do something. And down here at the community center, as a board, we have set aside money. We have found ways to get some extra money for them, but also part of our plan, our future plan, is to continue progress down here in making improvements from year to year. A project a year is hopefully what we were going to try to do, and that's what we want to do with that. But in order for us to have economic growth, downtown growth, and for all this stuff to be going on, we need an industry with a tax base that we can bring back to town and get these people. And that way we will have people coming downtown. We will have people in town. We will grow, and we are growing. We could do a lot more. We are doing a lot of now. There's a lot of things. There's grant money out there, but that grant money is not that easy to get. I do have contacts with New Blackwell. I do have a contact with Congressman Tim Moore. I've talked to them, and they know about the site, and I am trying my best to get them to bring something. I'm kind of like what Brad said. I would like to maybe even see a pharmaceutical. Trump's bringing all these pharmaceutical places into the country. Why would we not have a pharmaceutical at that site down there? That would be a perfect place. 100 acres, they look for a big site. So that's what I have on there. Just another thing is, the building, the old apartments over above the post office, above Town Hall, are getting ready to be renovated. They have been bought. They're going to be renovated out, and they're going to build some more duplexes next to the ones that's there, and they're going to take care of those. We are also going to be having some new condos come into Burn Street.
Yeah, 37.
But with all this stuff going on, my main goal, this will be the first time the mayor is 4 years, and my goal in these 4 years as mayor is to have a site on that, have an industry on that site before these 4 years are up. That's my big and main goal, and I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jennifer?
Yes. Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. And as you've heard, I am currently on the board. I was considering a run for town alderman before my father passed. He passed in May, so I was appointed to his seat to finish his term, and so I am running to complete that through the end of 2027. But I've lived in the Drexel community all of my life, and generations of my family have called Drexel home. My great-grandparents made their home here. My grandparents worked for Drexel Knitting Mills, and my father, Terry Yunt, lived his life in service to the town of Drexel and to the people of Drexel. I myself grew up here in this community center as well. I took ballet in this very room. I played basketball. I played softball. Loved it. Loved everything associated with this building and all the programs it had to offer. Bob Anthony was my coach. But I went to Drexel schools. I graduated from East Burke High School, Western Piedmont Community College with an associate's degree in business, and from Appalachian State University with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And I'm employed with the North Carolina Department of Adult Correction for the last 29 years. I rose through the ranks to become program director at Western Youth Institution. And when the prison closed, I went to work for community supervision, where I supervised the community service work program and judicial services staff. I'm currently a correctional case analyst at Foothills Correctional Institution. My father wanted the development of the former Drexel Heritage Site to be a success, and that's my main goal as well. I'm excited about the progress happening and working toward industry and jobs coming into that space and what that would mean for our community. And we're working on plans for future upgrades to the town's infrastructure, and of course the renovations are happening here at the community center, which will enhance the programs taking place here. I would really like to see new playground equipment in the future and additional recreational programs, which will take planning and grants, and hopefully revenue from new industries can help us fund endeavors like this. And I just want to say that revitalization of Drexel begins with each and every property owner, every homeowner taking pride in the appearance of their property, your yard, keeping the trash up, keeping it mowed, things like that. So when these people come to visit this property and they drive through town, they say, oh, this is a nice little community, I like it. But these are some of the projects I would like to see through to completion. And I'm dedicated to maintaining a balanced budget while keeping the tax rate as low as possible. And we enjoy some exceptional services that I will continue to support. Our police and fire departments, public works, and our administrative town employees. We're extremely fortunate to have the services that we have. Rough trash and yard waste pickup twice a week. That's something a lot of people would love to have in their community. We rarely have power outages, and if we do, it's usually not for long. And I don't think we could ask for a better town manager and staff. I have every confidence in his leadership of our town employees, and I support him. I'm proud of our fire and police departments providing protection for us 24/7. And I've seen firsthand how first responders show up in a hurry when you need them. And I want to support these staff members and make sure they have what they need to carry out their missions. And I want to conclude by saying that it's instilled in me to care for my community, to take pride in my hometown, and I want to do my part to keep Drexel moving forward so that future generations will also be proud to call Drexel home. Thank you.
Thank you. We got through things fairly quickly here, so we're urging you not to race out the door. There are homemade cookies from the Hoyle Bakery in the back. The candidates are going to hang around so you can ask them individual questions if you would like. And again, I think they deserve another round of applause for what they did. Just a reminder, early voting begins day after tomorrow on Thursday, and election day, where fewer people vote than vote beforehand, is Tuesday, November 4th. So please remember to vote at one of those dates over the next few weeks. Thank you so much for